Hey, good morning or afternoon, whichever class you're in. I'm so sorry I'm not here today. I got the stomach bug. So, yes, the one that was going around. Woohoo! Anyway, I just wanted y'all to have this review and know where you're at. So, you should be watching this after everybody's completed the review. So, these first three, all I wanted you to do were tell me things that you knew about them. So, for instance, complementary, what word or what letter do we think of? Good. You should have said think C, or that how many degrees is a complementary angle? Complementary angle is 90 degrees. Supplementary. Supplementary, when you see the word supplementary, you should think S, and it's 180 degrees. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite. Remember, vertical angles look something like this. They're across from each other. That means vertical angles are congruent or equal or same. One of those would have been fine. Alright, so down here we have another 1, 2, 3 because we misnumbered. I'll just give you the answers real fast. Number 1 should have been A, 2, B, 3 was D. Alright, let's look at it. It says, what's the measure of CGD? Well, first we have to see what angle CGD is. I see CGD is right here, so this angle. Well, I don't see any number there, Miss Hitchcock. But what do you see? You see, good. If I'm looking for this one, you see the AGF should be equal to CDG because they're vertical angles. So I know if this is 45, then this one is 45. Alright, next one says EGD. What is EGD? Well, I see 2x, which is helpful, right? I don't see any number here though. But I want you to think about it. You know that this straight line right here is 180 degrees, right? Straight line supplementary is 180. So if this is 180 and these pinks are equal, I can go ahead and put a 2x right here. I know that 45 plus 2x plus 50 has to be how much? It's on your yellow line. If it's on your yellow line, it should be how much? Good, 180. So you can do 45 plus 2x plus 50 is equal to 180. Now combine your like terms. What do you see? Good, 45 and 50 go together, so that equals 95 plus 2x is equal to 180. Now we need to isolate our variable, but before we can do that, we have to get rid of this 95. So subtract 95 from both sides. 2x is equal to 180 minus 95. Should have given you 85. Okay, divide by 2, divide by 2. X would be equal to, I believe, 42.5. Alright, but it says, what's the measure of EGD? Well, EGD was 2x, and you know x is equal to 42.5. So we have to make sure we times it by 2. So if we times this by 2, if you realize, you'll get 85 again. So that's how we got that. Alright, the next one says which are not adjacent angles. Adjacent, remember, adjacent means what? Look on your vocab wall. They're next to each other. Alright, so they're next to each other. I picked D, so I'll just show you why. We have F, G, E, so this part right here, this angle, and then I have B, G, C. These are across from each other. They're not next to each other, they're across from each other, so you know that these are really vertical. Alright, going down. For 4 and 5, we're going to use this triangle. It says, what's the value of x? So I see x here and I see x here. Well, I know that all three of these angles in a triangle have to add up to what? Good, 180. So you should have done x plus this plus x plus 20, which is this one, plus 40, which is right here. Sorry, I'll give you the answers again so you can check first. B and D. Alright, so how we got the value of x? We said it equal to 180 because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. Alright, combined your like terms. I see an x and an x, but when I don't see a number in front of the x, I know I can put a 1. So I have 1x plus 1x is equal to 2x. And I have a 20 and a 40, which I can simplify down to 60 is equal to 180. Subtract 60 from both sides. 2x is equal to 120. Divide by your coefficient to isolate your variable. So x is equal to 60. So that's how I got B. And it says, what's the measure of angle ABC? So it wants to know what the measure of this angle is right here. Alright, well, you see it's x plus 20. We know that x now stands for what? Good, x stands for 60. So 60 plus 20 is equal to 80. So that's how I got D. Alrighty, it says number 6. The answer is F. If you did not get F, you should be following along what I did. It says the measure of QRT is 135. What is the measure of TRS? So I'm trying to solve for TRS. Well, you know that you see it on a what kind of line? This is a straight line, and we know that straight lines add up to how much? Good, 180 degrees. So if I know that this is 135, I want to know what x is. So I'm going to do 135 plus some angle, x, is equal to 180. Subtract, x is equal to 45. Alright, now I am going to tell you, I know you guys probably have questions on these and I'm not here to answer them. Please, if you find yourself having a question, please write it down to the side of the question and we'll take some time before our test tomorrow to go over it, okay? Alright, number 7. Number 7 says if the measure, number 7 answer is A. It says if the measure of WXY is 69.8 degrees, so WXY is 69.8, what's the measure of YXZ? Well, I know that this whole thing right here is how much degrees? I know that both of these angles have to add up to 90 degrees. Because it's a right angle right here, and I know that right angle is 90 degrees. So I have 69.8 plus some value x is equal to 90. Alright, subtract 69.8 from both sides. Don't forget when you have decimals, your decimals have to line up. So you're left with, oops, it's supposed to be 9. You're left with 20.2. Okay, I think one of my students asked me the other day, can we round this to 70? Yeah, of course. Well, if you did that, you just have to do 70 plus x is equal to 90. Subtract 70, you get x is equal to 20. You just have to be sure, because you rounded, your number is going to be a little bit off. Alright, number 8 says, Timothy is creating, the answer is C. Timothy is creating a circular flower bed around a tree in his front yard. He drew the model below to represent the flower bed. He used a ruler to measure the diameter of the circle below in inches to the nearest 1/4 inch. So I get my formula chart. I'm on the inches side. I see that it's about right here, but it says round to the nearest fourth, so that would be 2.5. It's weird because that's not what I got originally, so we'll use this, see if my ruler's off. Okay, so answer might not be C. We'll check that though. So 2.5, I know that 1 inch is equal to 5 feet. So if 1 inch is equal to 5 feet, how many feet do I have here? So this is 2.5 inches, so you have to multiply 2.5 times 5. So you got 12.5 feet. Now I'm looking for the circumference, okay? Circumference. You go to your formula chart. Circumference of a circle, is pi times diameter. So I have pi times diameter. I know when we do FSA, remember we always use 3 for pi, so 3 times 12.5, and your answer, 12.5 times 3, is actually 37.5, which is really close to C. Okay, don't forget it's not going to be exact because we rounded pi to 3, not 3.14. Alright, this next one, the answer is H. It says the wheel on wheel on M's suitcase is shown below. Which is the closest to the distance traveled during 3 full rotations of the suitcase? Well, this is 4 centimeters if you couldn't read it. 3 full rotations. Rotations is just talking about how much does this travel. Am I coloring any of the outside of my wheel? Or I'm only covering the outside. Am I covering any of the inside? No. So if you're not covering any of the inside, you know it should be circumference of a circle is pi times diameter. So FSA always pi times diameter. So I do 3 times, my diameter is not 4, my diameter is how much? Good, it's 8. 3 times 8 is, whoops, not 3, 24 centimeters. But it says 3 full rotations, so if you put F, you got tricked. We have to multiply 24 by 3. 24 times 3 is 72, which is closest to 75. Okay? Again, be writing down any questions that you have. We're almost done. We got 5 more. Alright, number 10 says the Quarter Circle Advertising Company markets different designs for customers. The shaded area of the design represents the part of the ad for artwork. So this part's artwork. And then the rest shows text. How many square centimeters of advertising does Mr. Flavio have for artwork? Okay, now this is called an embedded figure, okay? Because this square is embedded into our quarter circle right here, right? Because we know it's a quarter circle because if we added 4 of these, it would make up a whole circle. Alright, so we have a lot of steps we have to do. Just so you know, whenever you have to find the shape or the shaded figure, you're always going to do the big area minus small area, okay? And that'll give you shaded. Alright, so I have to find how much is this whole circle, and then I have to divide it by what to just get this part of the circle. Hopefully you said 4, so you know that FSA, this is for my circle. Okay, if you wanted to box it in green, because I know I tell you to do that. Alright, area circle is pi times r times r. Pi times r times r. We know that pi is 3. My r is 5 times 5. Now, why this is my r and not my d is because technically this is half of your circle right here. Or this is the radius. Because remember, it would extend all the way over. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 times 5 is 75. But this is for the entire circle. I don't want the entire circle. I only want 1/4 of the circle. So you do 75 divided by 4. If you do 75 divided by 4, save you some time, you get 18.7. Okay, so this is for 1/4 of circle. Alright, now I want to take away this shaded part. I don't want this shaded part. This shaded part represents what kind of shape? I'm sorry, I'm saying shaded. I meant this part right here. This represents what? A rectangle. I don't want that rectangle in my shaded part because it has nothing to do with it. It's not shaded. I want to take it away. So I have to find the area of it though so I can take it away because I did big area, which we found out was 18.7. And now I'm going to try and find the small area. So I have length times width, 4.75 times 2. If you do 4.75 times 2, you should get 9.5. Now, that's the area of this. Okay, this whole thing, though, was 18.7. I don't want 9.5 of that, so I'm going to subtract it away. And you should get 9.2. Now, if you look at your answers, which one only has a whole number of 9? Good, so your answer was G. Alright, 11, the answer was 15. So if you got 15, great. What you had to do is you had another shaded figure, right? We had this countertop, and it says based on the diagram, what's the countertop area? So I just want this part. Alright, so again we have to do big area minus small area is equal to shaded. So you're going to have 2 FSAs. One's going to be for my big one. This one's going to be for my small one. Alright, so the big one is, or the formula for a rectangle, because this is a rectangle, is length times width or base times height. So length times width, I know my length is 6. My width is 3. 6 times 3 is 18. We have length times width again. For the small one, my length is 2. My width is 1.5. 2 times 1.5 is 3. I have to take the whole area of 18 and I have to take away this sink part. 18 minus 3 is 15. Alright, number 12. Number 12 is a funny one because you have to draw a picture, okay? This one was really confusing. It says, Joe cuts a circle out of a piece of wood for a carnival activity. I'm thinking of, like, you know where you would stick your face into like a piece of wood and like on the other side it looks like you're like this different person, like a carnival game. So that's what I'm thinking of. So he cuts a circle out of a piece of wood. The circle has a diameter of 10 inches. If the entire piece of wood is 6 feet long and 6 feet wide, how much paint will be needed to cover the front of the wood? Okay, but look, I have inches and feet. Okay, so you should have converted your feet to inches, and if you would have done that, you would have got 72 inches and 72 inches. All I did was multiply 12 times 6, because in 1 foot there's 12 inches. So if I have 6 feet, there's going to be 72 inches in it. Alright, so I have the area of this big figure is length times width. 72 times 72. 72 times 72, I'm going to save you some time and try and do it for you, is 5,184 inches. Alright, but I don't want the area of this part right here because that's cut out, it's taken away. So I need to find FSA of the circle. And if you look on your formula chart, area of a circle is what? Not pi times diameter, it should be pi times r times r. Pi times 5 times 5, we know pi is really 3. 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 25 is 75. So this little circle is 75. I took 75 inches away because you're cutting it out. So you need to subtract 75. If you subtract 75, you should have gotten 5,109 inches squared. Alright, 2 more, and these are the fun ones, okay? We have a composite figure here. Remember, we need to split it up into shapes we know. I'm going to split it up into a bunch of rectangles. The answer, by the way, was B. Alright, I know this is 5 feet, but see how there's 1 tick mark? So anywhere you see 1 tick mark, you know is 5 feet. So I know 5 feet, 5 feet, and 5 feet. And you see 2 tick marks here, so you know this is 4 feet, because these are equivalent, 4 feet and 4 feet. So I have 5 times 4 is 20. Then I have 4 plus how much more? Right here. This isn't 4. Don't say it's 4. This should be 8. 5 times 8 is 40. This one we have 3 of them put together on the side. So I have 4 and then 4 and then another 4. 4, 8, 12. 12 times 5 is 60. And finally I have another 4, another 4, and another 4. 4, 8, 12, 16 times 5, 80. Do you see a pattern? 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, now these aren't your answers because it wants to know the area of the entire shape. The area of the entire shape, we had to add them all up, and if you add them all up, you get 200 feet squared. Last one, the answer is J. Alright, I wanted to find, if you read this problem, they built a deck here. So this is a deck. It wants to know the area of space where there's grass, which is all right here. Well, this is a weird shape, so I'm going to split it up to look like this. So I have 40 times 30 is what? Because this is length times width. Sorry, I did not do FSA on this one. You definitely should have done FSA and colored too, but I'm out of time and I'm not feeling well, so I'm about to leave. 40 times 30 is 1,200. If you did FSA like you should, it should have done length times width, and then 30 times 40, and then 1,200. This one, I just want to know this triangle right here, right? Well, I know if this is 20, then this one's 20. Okay, your area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. My base is 20. Don't forget, it's always at a what kind of angle? A right angle. So 20 times 20 divided by 2. 20 times 20 is 400 divided by 2 is, good, 200. So I had 1,200 and 200. If you add them together, you get 1,400. Okay, now I need y'all for the rest of class, you need to study this for this part of the class, and then when the bell rings and we normally do stations, I want you guys to get on Chromebooks, and I want you to do Think Through Math, please. I need everybody to study tonight because this is a very important test. There are a lot of important people in the district who are going to be looking at your test scores, like me, Mr. Ellis, Miss Smith, pretty much everybody who teaches math at Northridge, and then some people from really, really, really high up in the district. So this is a really big deal. So y'all need to kill this test. So please look over this review. If you have questions, write them down. Staple it to your review so you can ask me tomorrow before the test. I'll give you 20-ish minutes before we take the test to ask any questions that you have. I love y'all. I really hope you're being fantastic for the sub because she's doing me a huge favor. Y'all have a great rest of your day.